guest, I would say she's idling in our virtual green room, but she's not idle in any way, shape, or form. She is out there doing something that's incredible. She's really trying to raise awareness for obesity, especially childhood obesity, but just, I think, even in general with what she's doing. You can check out how far she's come on her cycling project. She left from Chicago and took off on September 18th from downtown Chicago. She's going down Route 66 on a bicycle. Danielle Giordano is just, again, someone to watch. How fierce she is in trying to raise this awareness with this National Cycle Project and, you know, raise the roof on what's happening out there. And at the same time, this incredible athletic feat along the way. Danielle, how are you doing? You feeling a little bit rested?
A little bit. At this point, there's a lot of things that are sore, but, we're going to keep trucking along. We're making really good time. We are currently in a place called Holbrook, Arizona. Came through some pretty challenging hills yesterday and made a little bit of a descent down into the valley of Holbrook here. But you know what they say in cycling, what goes down must come up.
That sounds like a true cyclist. It's like those pelotons, right? You know, we're talking about any of the races are, whether it's in Italy or, of course, whether it's in France, the Tour de France. So tell us about what it's been like along the way. First of all, what was it like to leave from Chicago? You know, what was that like to go from downtown Chicago? I think that's so cool.
Well, it was kind of cool, literally being at the starting point for Route 66, and there's a sign at the corner there that informs you that you are indeed right at the starting point, and going through downtown and making your way around the city. And then we've had a chance to really see everything. I mean, we've been through the mountains of Missouri, which I have to say are probably one of the single most challenging aspects of this ride so far when it comes to mountains. And I'm in the middle of, I went through New Mexico and I'm in the middle of Arizona right now, and so that says something. The winds coming out of Illinois, just the winds in New Mexico, we faced 40-plus mile-an-hour winds day before yesterday, and trying to just keep the bike upright. And it was just insane, too. Temperatures, 29 degrees yesterday. It's only in the upper 30s right now here in Arizona, to the heat, to roads that are just, they just beat upon your joints, just, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, just constantly being beat, to potholes and splits where the road is raised or lowered, 12, 14 inches, and you just boom, and you just, hit down to, the interstates. Riding along I-40 it's surreal. Being so close to, these tractor trailers that are going, I believe, at least 75, 85 miles an hour, and they're literally feet from you. Almost wiped out a couple of times, had a little bit of a wipeout. And it's just that, just the vibration and the sheer noise that they make when they pass you. This route truly is as mentally exhausting as it is physically exhausting. You get hit with every type of weather. I mean, we were going into Tulsa and we rode through a rainstorm for 5 hours. I mean, it was just, we've had every, hit, but I think that's a really good mirror for people who are facing health issues and are obese, that there are so many life circumstances and, social obligations and, cravings and addictions to carbohydrates or sugars. And I think it's a really great mirror. And, as I said when I began this, I really want this to be a living testimony of, what I'm going through is what people go through when they have these health challenges. And I was that person that was almost 400 pounds. And here I am now where, the world record is 44 days, and we are sitting at day 17, 18, day 18, 17, and we are we started on September 18th, and then we took one rest day in Amarillo, and so, now we're sitting in Holbrook, Arizona, and we're within 600 miles of the Santa Monica Pier. Currently, and I didn't even know this until a reporter told me, but I'm pacing faster than any other athlete in U.S. or in history, period. Also have the highest mileage day of any athlete in history doing this route. And so I hope it to be a motivation for someone, a true motivation, because, Kate, what I say, inspiration without action is merely entertainment, and we don't need any more entertainment in this world. And so, it's been a truly a once in a lifetime experience. From the mountains to the painted desert yesterday, which was just amazing to, you get in some of these stretches where you can see for what seems like a couple 100 miles, and there's nothing. there's nothing. There's not a telephone pole. There's not a water
wow.
tower. You know what I mean? It's been really cool.
So I love what you said there. I mean, that about it being entertainment, the inspiration without the action, basically, and you're putting the action out there. So when more people are starting to learn about your journey, and I know you're focused on the bike and riding, but that has to feel gratifying, right?
Oh, you know what? It has been really cool. We had this phenomenon that started happening in Tulsa where people were starting to pull over and take pictures, and people were taking pictures in their car, and they were asking for selfies, and, to the point where, it's grown, now people are, they're literally pulling over 2 and 3 at a time to just take video and get a picture, and will you take a selfie? And we were going through Mexico and New Mexico, and this one gentleman came running up, and he had a bag of homemade beef jerky, and he said, "We saw you on TV, we just want to wish you luck." I said, "I'm a vegan," and I said, "But I think the pace car driver," and he was so sweet, but people with just, water and Gatorade, and just, it's been really cool to see Americans wrap around really what is a European sport, drastically different in popularity between the United States and Europe. But I think it's the story, and it's the just the connection that we're all really the same here, and we all have the same challenges. So, what typically, and boy, well said, what typically is a day like for you? How many hours? Does it vary on the bike? It does. It really does. Like normally we would already be up and on the bike, but we have temperatures here that are just frigid, and when you work in the wind chill factor of the headwinds plus the speed of the bike that you're moving at, it's just frigid, and so we can't start yet. So we're starting later, which might mean either one, we have a shorter day, or it might mean we ride into the evening. We've had days that have been 14, 15 hours, where we've ridden from, night to night, per se, and we've had days that have been shorter. I think my shortest day so far, I've had 89 miles, and that was just going through the mountains, and it was the headwinds too, and it was actually the day before yesterday, I believe, where we had the 40-plus mile-an-hour headwinds, and I just couldn't take it. And so it varies. It depends on weather, and depends on what type of terrain we're in, and there's a lot of variables.
Wow. How about, so you mentioned this, you're a vegan. How do you fuel yourself? Because we see this, for people who are listening to me, you see this when you watch some of the races on TV, bananas and power bars. Is that what's happening with the pace car around you?
Well, yeah. Well, I have my vegan protein that I have. I also have a product called Prove It that I'm using. Of course, I have my Kind bars that are right next to me that don't go too far from my grass. I also have some wonderfully raw products, which are just raw, nutritionally dense, plant-based products. I'm eating a lot of beans along the way. I've had my cans of, I love garbanzo beans, and so I've been eating my garbanzo beans along the way, and that's literally just opening up the can, draining it out, and eating it straight out of the can. And and of course I have my pickle juice along the way too to try and prevent cramps. And so there's a lot that goes into it. And then, of course, in the evenings is really when you try and calorie pack as much as you can, eating a lot of sweet earth foods and just, trying to eat a lot of, complex carbohydrate type of foods. So.
All right, so everybody can keep following you. We're going to check in with you again, but they can go to highwayforhealth.org, right? And that talks about the project and the foundation and whatnot.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And, Kate, we're going to have a pretty large celebration at the Santa Monica Pier, and it honestly looks like we could wrap this thing up this week. And so that's really kind of exciting as we get into the final days here. So we'll see how it all works out. But, yeah, highwayforhealth.org. We also have our video diaries. and we also have the audio diaries that are running on the La Femme radio network.
All right, so check that out. Thank you, Danielle, and good luck the rest of the way.
Hey, thanks so much, Kate. I appreciate it. Have an awesome day.
Come on in.